Cheers. Fantasy football sucks. I don't know why I keep playing it, and here we go.
Chug, 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 chug.
And we're live.
Good evening, morning, afternoon, whatever time it is. Welcome to the Easy Company Podcast, Episode 6. My name is GingerBeerdGaming. I am joined with my good friends AngryPrivateRyan and Tango Dom. How are we doing today, gentlemen?
Beautiful.
Still extremely sore. Like, extremely sore.
Didn't you, march 17 miles the other day? Or
12,
what was that?
yeah.
Okay.
So 2 times a year in the Army, we have to do what's called a 12-mile ruck march, where you put 35 pounds on your back, and you have to move 12 miles in under 3 hours without all of your tactical gear. And then we also do a tactical 12-mile, which is where you have your rifle, your body armor, and all that stuff, and you have to do the same thing, but in under 4 hours. So I did the non-tactical one. It's called the Forced Ruck March. Did that on Friday. That was 2 days ago now, and I still feel like someone just pummeled me, like just beat my ass. Because immediately after that, I also had to get anthrax and typhoid shots in both of my arms. So it's just like, oh yeah, your whole body hurts, but your arms aren't sore. Well, let's fix that. And yeah, I just feel like someone kicked my ass.
I remember being
Uncle Sam.
I remember being very proud of myself when I could do my 4 mile dog walk in under an hour, and that's cooking.
This man
You
just
also have to account for the dog stopping and pooping and stuff, though. So that's pretty impressive if you think about it.
You
got to carry those massive turds around with you.
Yeah, right. I've got a 5-pound turd in my hand.
This is a fucking ruck march.
God. Oh my Lord. Well, I'm glad you're
man.
still among the land of the living. I'm glad you got it done.
Barely. I'm hanging in there,
Guys,
though.
what have we been playing this week? I know, Brian, I understand that you are getting into the new COD, new Black Ops Cold War. Have you met Reagan yet? How is he?
I have. So I had a little bit of downtime yesterday and started the campaign. So I did meet Reagan. He authorized my super secret mission. So it's actually kind of interesting. It's pretty cool. I really have only played the opening mission, and then now I'm starting to get into it. But they've added kind of an interesting concept to this one where you actually kind of get to I'm not even going to call it role play, but I'm going to just call it. They add a little bit of personality to your character in that you get to name. They kind of open up this file, like a top secret file, and you get to input your name, where you're from, your gender, and then you get to pick traits for your character for the rest of the campaign, like things like 25% more damage on bullets, you reload faster, you heal up faster. So you get to pick these 2 traits, and they go in your file, and that's your buffs for the rest of the campaign. So that was kind of interesting that they added a little bit of customization to your character. But yeah,
some light RPG, basically.
So extremely light RPG. Just more of you at least get to put a little bit of your own flair on the character, I guess.
Is that a decision you make at the beginning of the game, and you can't change it throughout the rest of the campaign?
Correct. So the way it sets up is whatever, I forget the main Black Ops team leader. He needs this team, and Reagan's advisory board. They're these guys are there. His requests are very, very unorthodox and da 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 da. And Reagan's I don't give a shit. Give it to him. And so you've got all these members of the team, and then you're the new member of the team, and your code name is Bell, but then you get a name your full name and pick all that other stuff, and you're the new member to the team. So it's kind of interesting.
It is kind of interesting that they've never really added that before, because even though pretty much everybody has the same, there's not a lot of, you do have buffs, right? In multiplayer, you can kind of customize
perks,
and they're not game changing necessarily, unless they're terribly unbalanced, which sometimes that happens. But that's interesting. So you're just playing through the campaign, or you've been playing multiplayer too?
No, all multiplayer. Like I said, I played campaign for an hour, and then one of my buddies texted me yesterday while I was getting into that. I like I said, I played the opening campaign or opening mission, and then right after I did that, my buddy texted me and said, "Hey, you want to hop on multiplayer?" So I've been playing pretty much just multiplayer, but I did get the chance to hop into the campaign a little bit. But yeah, I've been really enjoying it. I put in hours that I probably shouldn't say because it's just kind of ridiculous. I think I'm up to.
We've all been there. Come on, let's hear it.
Yeah,
So it came out Friday. I think I'm at 20 hours into it.
It's not that bad.
No,
I mean, it's like,
that's an 8-hour on Friday. That's and like
like 12 hours yesterday.
12, 12. Yeah.
Yeah. So
I mean, hey, we've all had like streams.
We've all had those
long
weekends
once in a while,
yeah,
right?
Yeah. And I've put in way more hours into like a Skyrim when it came out or something, like something like that. But so yeah, I've been playing it all weekend, been enjoying it. It is I think I've alluded to this before, but it's Call of Duty switches off developers every other year between Infinity Ward and Treyarch, and each of them definitely consistently kind of have their own feel to the movement and the gunplay and everything. And so it definitely feels like a Treyarch game. I historically have not been as good at the Treyarch Call of Duties as I am at the Infinity Ward ones. So Friday night when I was playing with a group of guys, I was definitely not playing well, kind of getting used to everything. But I was playing all day yesterday and grinded, and I got my KD up by like 0.2, so 0.2 of a KD. I grinded it up. So I enjoy that aspect of it, like kind of trying to grind and get better and just, learn the maps and just be better. So get good, as they say. But
so are you just playing TDM, or are you playing because then have they added all the other stuff?
Yeah, so I've got it cycled. I play a bunch of different game modes. Right now, it's just kind of core multiplayer. They do have that like what they're calling combined arms game modes, which is kind of larger scale game modes. But it's still kind of the essence of still true multiplayer in that regard. But I've been playing kind of just regular core multiplayer. I've been cycling between TDM, Kill Confirmed, Domination. On Friday night, they have this really cool game mode called Control, which is kind of like Search and Destroy, except it's not one life. It's a limited amount of tickets on each team, like 20 lives, basically. So each respawn is a life. And the attacking team needs to gain control of the two zones on the map by sitting in them kind of like a domination zone. And then the attacking team can win by either eliminating the defending team's tickets or by capturing the two zones. And of course, the defending team wins by either eliminating all the tickets of the other team or not allowing them to cap within the time limit. So we played a lot of that on Friday night. It's a lot of fun. It's not as slow paced as Search. You still get to kind of, if you die, you still get to come back and play, but it requires a lot of kind of cohesion and teamwork, and it's really satisfying when you get a win. So been playing a lot of that as well. But
I miss having games come out where like you could spend 12 or 10 hours playing it because you were just so excited for it before it released. And then when it released, you just couldn't freaking put it down. I feel like it's been a while since a game has done that for me. And it sounds like it definitely nailed that mark for you, Ryan.
Yeah, I think every Call of Duty does. What the big test here will be if it sticks. I think Modern Warfare stuck for me. I really enjoyed it. It helped that they released Warzone, but even then, I still enjoyed the multiplayer a lot in Modern Warfare. For instance, I go back to the last Black Ops 4, where I was excited for it to come out, and it stuck for 3 weeks and I was over it. But it was a lot different. There was a lot of, jumpy, flyy, special power stuff in this one and in 4. In Cold War, it's definitely much more gunplay focused. What'll be interesting, I think what's going to make or break it for me at least is they need to tune some weapons because holy shit, did they release this thing with very broken guns. The MP5, which is the first SMG you get, is quite possibly the most overpowered gun I've ever seen in a Call of Duty. And since it's the first gun you get, literally everyone is using it, and it gets really effing annoying. and they need to release some. They need to get some more maps in there. It released with pretty small amount of maps, and the maps are not
what
those
I would consider for
great.
Sure.
Yeah. So that'll be kind of the make or break is how they tune it, because they definitely need to do some gun balancing and they need to get some more maps in there. But so far, I think it's pretty promising, and I've enjoyed it. So
sounds good, because Modern Warfare was like such a hit, and a lot of people were wondering like, well, how does it get better than this? So
yeah,
it sounds like they're doing a pretty good job.
The community is definitely divided straight down the middle. You either, and this is the way it's always been, but you either loved Modern Warfare and are going to hate Cold War, or vice versa. You hated Modern Warfare, love Cold War. We'll see. It's just the difference of kind of play styles, I think, that really favor one kind of movement and gunplay mechanic over the other.
How big is this game?
What's that?
How big is this game?
If you want just multiplayer, I think it was only like 36, 30 or 40 gigs.
That's not bad.
If you want anything, it's a fuckload of gigs. I think it was like 180 gigs or something.
I bet like once they start adding new maps and stuff, though, that multiplayer size is going to get freaking massive.
Yeah, the campaign is huge, though. The campaign is big, and another thing people are super excited on this one is Zombies is back. But I'm not a big Zombies fan. So
Treyarch started Zombies, right? Wasn't it?
I think so. It started in World at War. It was
the Nazi zombies
kind of the
knocked dead on Totem.
Yeah, you got it at the end of the campaign. No one really knew it even existed. You just kind of entered into it after you won the campaign, and it became this big thing. And I think that's what I don't like about it, is that it became such this like big, like they added stories into it, and you've got to like do all these tasks around to try. And I'm just like, remember when Zombies was just get the biggest gun you can find and hold up and try to like fight off hordes of zombies?
In Black Ops 4, it was fucking ridiculous.
It was like, stupid.
It's amazingly stupid.
I just can't stand it. And then like there was one, I think it was in Advanced Warfare, there were zombies in there, and that was, again, it was just stupid. And I just want to, I don't like Zombies already that much, because I don't see a whole lot of point in game modes where you're just trying to see how long you can survive. Because it's just like there's no end to it. You're just seeing how long you can survive. And so that's fun for a little while, but it definitely doesn't hold my
it gets old after a while. I feel that.
So, but we'll see. I'm going to keep playing it. I'm going to keep grinding it out. They are supposedly going to release a ranked playlist. So even though the skill-based matchmaking is out of this fucking world on this game, I mean, it is, you are sweating out every single game. There's no such thing as just going in, relaxing, and playing some public games. Like, you just have to sweat everything out. So I already feel like I'm playing a ranked playlist, but at least if they release a ranked playlist, you can like actually get a rank associated to how well or bad you're doing, and kind of see the progression from there. But that will be interesting to see when they release that, because I'd like to kind of try my hand.
Nice.
You were playing CS:GO the other day. What made you do that?
Interesting. This is an intervention.
This is great questions. The honest reason was so Cold War was about to come out. I was kind of itching. I've been itching to play an FPS, because I haven't been able to play an FPS in very long, because when I stream, I've been having to play Long Dark, which I really enjoy, but just because of all the stream issues I've been having, I can't play Call of Duty on stream. And so I was just itching for an FPS that night. I just needed to play an FPS. And the only one, the one that came to mind that I knew would run on stream was CS:GO. So I played CS:GO for like 4.5 hours on Thursday night. It was fun. I haven't played a whole lot of CS:GO, but I used to play CS Source like there was no tomorrow. So I'm kind of used to the way it flows, but it was a change up. But I needed an FPS in my life, so it was kind of like, I needed some sort of drug.
Watching you almost made me want to install it, because I never really got that big into it, and mainly because I didn't have anybody to play it with. But like watching you kind of made me want to install it and give it another go, because it's like one of the most famed FPSs in the history of gaming, right?
Right.
And I feel like I never got to experience it the way a lot of other people did. And I was just like, I was watching you and I was just like, man, I kind of want to give this another go.
It was fun. I just turned some tunes on in the background and just played around. I did get a little tilted sometimes, but I tried not to, get too mad because I knew I was going to get my ass handed to me. I mean, we've got kids that have been playing this CSGO has been out for almost 10 years now. It's insane.
And people have been sweating over their keyboards playing it for that long.
Yep. And so and then I look back well, when did CS Source come out? Because that's the one I played a bunch. And CS Source came out in 2004. So I was 12 when that one came out, roughly lines up. That's what I played a lot of. But yeah, it was fun. If you ever install it and you want to play it, let me know.
I might do.
Cool.
We could do a squad stream, CSGO.
Let's do it.
Oh my
team
god.
Stream
Team stream.
Go 0 and 45. I guarantee
I'll be right there with you, Ginger. You and I can kill each other and we'll at least get some satisfaction of killing someone.
Yeah. I guess so. Yeah. The Twitchy streamers or the Twitchy shooters, I don't know.
I've
never been any good.
It's just so unique, that gunplay in CS, because not only is it kind of twitchy, but it's also there's no ADSing unless you've got a sniper, and it's just extremely unique, and it's very hard to get used to.
That and the way you have to clear corners in that game too.
It's because you'll just get bopped in the head and done.
Think about it. It'll help you play games like fucking Tarkov, where clearing corners is super important and super punishing if you don't do it right. Yeah.
It's true. I mean, if we play that, you guys may be at over 45 and I'll be at 2 and 45. So we'll be up we'll be there with you.
Oh yeah.
It'd be
sounds good.
So yeah, that's my life. That's where I'm at. Cheers.
Nice. I understand that you have a bet to make good on their Angry Private Ryan.
Yeah, not really a bet, but more of a fucking obligation. Yeah, so I'm in a fantasy football league, and the deal for the fantasy football league, it's been this way for a couple seasons now, is so the highest score of the week across all games gets $5 out of the pool. And lowest score of the week has to chug a beer before next week's games. So I had a atrocious week last week on fantasy, and I have to chug a beer this morning.
Well,
11.
You'll have
11.
However many eyewitnesses
at 11. Yeah, it's 11 a.m. here.
Okay.
So please excuse me because I do also have to send it to our fantasy group me, so I've got to take a video on my own end. But
no worries.
I figured this would be a fun way for the stream to get to hang out.
Your fantasy football league has made it.
Yeah,
Wanna?
What were you drinking before that? Were you drinking coffee?
So, boys and girls. No, I was just drinking water.
Oh,
how do I flip this fucking thing around? Hang on, I'm really stupid.
Oh my god.
All right, never mind. All right, so we out here.
Are you actually shotgunning this thing?
No, I'm not shotgunning it.
Oh, okay.
I'd make a mess.
All over the carpet.
I'd make a mess.
Yeah.
Everyone on the group me say hello to the podcast. This is where magic's made right here. And everyone on the podcast say hello to the group me. So this will be out next week. I'll post the link to the podcast in the group me. Everyone go check it out. Hit subscribe, hit that thumbs up
pouring
button.
it into a glass. This is the most distinguished chug I've ever seen, I think.
It's easier to chug out of the glass than it is out of the can.
Well, yeah, but
not even a solo cup. It looks like an actual glass.
Oh yeah, we need a Bud
Shout
Light.
out to Santa Fe Brewing and with a Bud Light in it. The usual. All right. Cheers. Fantasy football sucks. I don't know why I keep playing it. And here we go.
Chug, 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 chug. Oh, that was a big gulp.
Yeah, I heard
no!
That. I heard that.
Oh no!
Oh, I didn't finish
it. No!
Okay, this bottoms up.
You hate to see it. You never like to take a break.
That gulp sounded like it kind of hurt. Like I heard that over the mic.
It did.
That's what messed me up.
You just gotta relax your throat. You just gotta pretend like you're.
There's too many eyes on me, too much pressure.
Oh, I see.
I just
anxiety.
I fold under pressure.
Yeah. Yeah.
So there we go. The podcast is off to a great start, eh?
Now it is. Oh man. All right. Let's Tango, why don't we talk about so I'm actually super excited about kind of our main topic today, talking about the long dark, because we've kind of talked around it a little bit in one episode here and there. But that's what that little mute button is for there, buddy.
It slipped. I couldn't help myself.
Well, we've talked about the long dark kind of around it, but it was mostly just Ryan and I talking about it because Tango hasn't played it. And so this week Tango had some time off during the week, and I got to sit and watch him play it on stream, which was fantastic. So first of all, I just want to know, like give it a star rating out of 10. Like how are you liking it?
Star rating out of 10. So I've played it for 2 solid days, like probably 5 hours each day.
Yeah.
Probably like an 8 out of 10.
Yeah.
It's up there for me. It's up there. It's definitely one of my favorite survival games that I've played. So anybody who knows me knows that the survival genre is my bread and butter. I love anything survival. I've always been a big fan of like DayZ and similar games like that. The Long Dark, I don't know why I didn't play it sooner, because like, given the type of game it is, it's always been right up my alley, and it looked good, but I've never sat down and watched someone play it until I watched Ryan play it on stream one day. And I was like, this looks freaking amazing. And I looked, and I knew it was on the Xbox Game Pass, which I pay for monthly. It's like $5 a month for PC, whatever. So I was like, oh, dude, I got to give this game a try. And I am absolutely loving it so far. I hate the cold, and playing that game makes me just really feel bad for the goddamn character that's in it, because I'm just like, this looks absolutely miserable. And it really puts you in a situation, like, it gets you, the immersion of the game really gets you feeling like you're there, and you're thinking like, what would I do in this situation? I'm running low on food. I don't even have enough food to survive the night. It's cold. I need a place to sleep. I was awful at the game at first. I needed chat's help a lot. I needed chat's help a lot. That first night was such a struggle for me to survive, because I didn't have enough food to go to sleep and have enough calories to even make it the next morning. But once I got past that first night, I kind of got a feel for like, okay, this is what I have to do. Like, you kind of get into that groove where something clicks and you kind of understand the game. You're like, I know what I have to do now. And once I got to that point, it was awesome. But even getting my ass handed to me, just by the elements, was fun. And I even played it off stream a little bit. I played the sandbox mode because I jumped right into the story. I know that a lot of people haven't played the story, because when the game first released, the only thing that was available was the sandbox. So I decided, like, I was just going to jump right into the story, because I've never played the sandbox and I don't really have anything to compare it to. So I'm just going to go and see the story. And the story was actually really engaging. I really enjoyed all the characters that I met and the decisions that you have to make. I'm not going to go into too many spoilers, but I also figured out that there are decisions that you have to make in the story that could impact the game further on. And I didn't know it was that kind of game. I didn't know it was that kind of story. So once I figured that out, I was all in.
It didn't used to be like, even I remember when they first released the story mode, it kind of got panned. Like, nobody really liked it. Like, and I was watching you play the story mode. I was like, holy shit, they have, like, there wasn't characters. I think it was just.
I thought it was
really
just like an objective-based survival,
Yeah.
basically. Yeah. Like, you just had to get to a certain point on, like, in the world. Like, you started somewhere, and your objective was just to, like, kind of get somewhere, I thought. Same thing as Ginger. When I was watching you play through it, I was like, wait a minute, hang on.
Who the hell's this old woman?
Like, like the characters just seem pretty deep. And to your point, Tango, you just I really liked the characters, and it just seemed to me like the story was a really good, engaging way to also kind of learn the concepts of the game. And then that would help you later on as you jump into, like, sandbox and whatnot.
Well, even walking around that one town, I think it was the town of Milton, right? And, like, the town has a very dark, almost like really depressing history, but it was very interesting to learn about the events that transpired there. And I like found myself wanting to know more about what happened to this town. Why is it so abandoned? And like, you know, you go back and you find a bunch of snippets of old newspapers and whatever else that tell you this whole history of this town, of how it just declined economically and people started leaving and it got abandoned, and then the storm hit, right? And now everything's just freaking completely messed up. There's like the old man with the beard, this mysterious old man who knows more about you than you even told him about, right? And you're like, what is that about? Like, what now I want to know who this guy is, you know? But he just keeps mysteriously popping up throughout the story. Like, there's a lot of unanswered questions that I just want to go back and play, and I want to find out. I want to learn about it all. So it really hooked me in.
It was cool seeing in the story mode the spots on the maps where I've, you know, holed up in survival, like the camp office area where you were at, where there's those fishing huts and stuff. Like, I've spent in one of my playthroughs where I'm on like day 70 of survival. That's like my main base, and it's just kind of interesting to see that concept of it. But I think it'll be kind of cool because you'll be able to kind of, as you play through a survival now in a sandbox mode, you'll kind of be able to attribute things to like the story mode, like of the locations and whatnot. And that'll be kind of, I think that kind of adds a piece of immersion to it. That'll be kind of neat.
Yeah.
I wanted to go back real quick to something that I agree with Ryan, like seeing the story getting fleshed out a little bit with the locations was really cool. But like one of the things that you just said recently that made me kind of take me back a little bit is you said you hate the cold and you just feel bad for the character. The Long Dark is a lot of fun, and it's real, to your point, really fucking depressing. And I remember the first time I think froze to death in that game. Like, I don't remember exactly what happened, but I think I just got caught in a storm and I just had not planned well. Right. And I had been with this, you know, playthrough for a while, and like, I literally at the end of it, I mean, because it's not like a quick death. Like, no. you're just like slowly fading out. And I remember I sat back, like it was you died after so and so many days, and I sat back and I was like, okay, I gotta go do something else. Like, I can't. Like, that was fucking awful. Like, it was really. I don't. Games don't affect me like that very often, but that one in particular.
I think I remember.
You just think about sitting there, like getting snowed on and just starving and freezing, and you just like, this is how it ends. I'm just gonna sit here
always
until
says,
I die
like,
slowly.
You faded into the long dark or whatever. Like, that's the tagline when you die. And it's like, oh wow, that's really like, wow.
It is a very emotional game. It's a super emotional game, and that's what I love about it.
Yeah.
I remember getting a text from Ginger. I think it was shortly after that first death of his, because I think me and him got he turned me on to this game, but I think it was right after like we had built our computers a long time ago, and he texted me. He's like, "Dude, you've got to try this game. I just died." And like, I don't remember what he said, but he's just like, I just died, and I feel like I died in real life. Like,
it's like, oh my!
He was like, oh, God, and I was like, "That's." I mean, you sold me, so I went and picked it up, and it's been like one of my, if not my favorite, one of my favorite survival games ever since. But just the way it immerses you like that is just insane.
Or the way that like when you're feeling okay and you're on a trip to go scavenge for supplies or something, and you crest the hill, and like right below you is like 5 wolves, and you're like, oh fuck, like there's like, I'm not living, like either I'm
gonna die.
So I went and played the survival mode offline because I wanted to continuing the story on stream. So I wanted to play the game, and I played it offline, and I got messed up by wolves. I died the first 3 times I died were all to animals.
Wolves will fuck your life up,
dude. They saw me from, because I of course, I'm the masochist I am, I went and played it on the hardest difficulty, right? And so the wolves see you from so damn far away, and I have nothing, and there's no shelter anywhere, there's no houses, so I'm just like, get away, and I'm like throwing rocks at them and shit, and like, it was just, it was brutal. It was absolutely brutal. But one thing about that game is the audio is so awesome.
Yeah.
When you hear that wolf howling, and other games have done this too, like that Stalker wolf howl. I don't know if you guys have played Stalker, right?
Yeah. Yep.
That wolf howl that you hear in the distance, where it's like this super low pitch, just bone chilling wolf howl, and you hear that in the long dark, and you're like, I was gonna go that way, but I'm not anymore. And the way that your footsteps sound when you're walking through the snow and the wind, like everything is just so atmospheric and so immersive, and it's just it takes you through a really emotional and just immersive state when you're playing that game. You just forget the outside world exists completely, and for me, that's what I love the most about video gaming, and The Long Dark hits that for me very well. It does a great job.
Oh, absolutely.
Also, like the audio is obviously incredible. Like when you're sitting inside, you can tell when it's stormy outside, right? And you're like, well, you wake up from your night's sleep, and you can hear the wind howling outside, and you're like, oh, this can be a good day to stay inside, and
and you've always got decisions to make too, because you're like, well, shit, I might not have enough firewood to make it through another day, so now I have to go out into that storm and try to find firewood, or I'm not going to survive either way,
And you don't know, that storm may last for another couple hours, or it may last for 2 days. You don't know, right? So like, while you may have enough food to last you today, what if that storm's not gone tomorrow when you wake up? And that's what's so cool about it. Another thing I love about it as well, it has a very unique visual presentation. Like it's very kind of, I don't want to say cartoony, right? But it's definitely not trying to be hyper realistic. It's got its own kind of artistic feel to it, but it looks gorgeous. Like
it's very unique.
When you go outside at the dawn and it's a beautiful crisp morning, when by crisp I mean like negative 40 degrees. It's you walk out and it's just gorgeous. It's such a beautiful game. I have so many screenshots from it. It is just beautiful. And I don't know, Tango, if you've experienced the Northern Lights, the Aurora yet, but at night, if the Aurora happens, that's one of the most gorgeous things to walk out to when it's just clear and there's the Northern Lights above you. And don't go near the wolves if that happens. But it's just there are a few words to describe how well done that game is and it's not even trying to be hyper realistic with the graphics, and I almost love that even more.
It's trying to simulate, or it's trying to give you the experience of being in the frozen Canadian wilderness, and all the and the fact that the Canadian wilderness does not give a single fuck about you, right? And that's and that does it. It's really it's very much like I always liked reading the is it the Jack London books when I was a kid, Call of the Wild and White Fang, and those they're not really like Jack London wrote a lot of books about the frigid, Canadian sort of north, and that this game always gives me those feelings. It just doesn't, you're just one little speck, something's food. Or
I'm glad that you did mention that, Ginger, because the description of the hardest difficulty, I think, is something along with, you are not part of nature's plan. The universe doesn't give a single fuck about your survival. Everything is trying to kill you. The weather is trying to kill you. Animals are trying to kill you. You are just not part of nature's plan, and you have to, you have to put yourself there. You have to take the steps necessary if you want to be a part of nature's plan, if you want to survive, because the world doesn't give a fuck about you. And that's what's really awesome about it.
And that's I think that's one thing, because I had on my list here, we should ask, what does this game add to the genre, or what makes it special? And I've actually struggled with this a little bit, because it's funny, because like Ryan just said about zombies in Call of Duty, that he doesn't really feel like there's a point to something.
An end game.
There's not an end game. And I was going to say, the Long Dark, I mean, obviously the story mode excluded, which it didn't have for the longest time. I don't know, when did they add that story mode? I mean, it was years after release, I think.
It was they were in early access when we were playing it for I think a year or two, and they dropped the initial story, I think, on 1.0 release, and have been tuning it ever since. So it was a couple, I think it was 2 years before that we were playing it, before the story fully came out.
Sure. And so what I was going to ask is how like would it benefit from having an end game? Because like you never, even if you're in sandbox and you're at day 70, like your resources are finite. You're never comfortable. I mean, you can kind of settle for a little bit, but like you're never gonna. I mean, the you don't have a base. You know, you can't farm because everything's frozen. So the best you can do is hunt. But then you gotta either make arrows or find bullets or, something. I don't know where I'm going with this other than I think that it really embraces that sort of, that part of the genre. Cause even like Green Hell, I mean,
you can get pretty comfortable in Green Hell. Yeah.
Well, cause you build a base and,
you can hunt the animals and you can grow things in Green Hell. So
it still feels like resources are plentiful in Green Hell. And even in a game like DayZ, like you kill one player and you're set forever. Like you just, you can get comfortable and settle for a long time. But the thing about the Long Dark is that you're constantly forced to make very difficult decisions. You can't stay in one place for too long. All of your decisions are based off of what the weather's doing, what supplies that you have, and they're all very limited, but you always have to go and keep finding more because you're not going to survive if you're in one place for too long. And, I think it's just the fact that you have to make such difficult decisions that, well, I might live if I do this and I might die, but if I stay here, I'm going to die anyway. So I have to keep pushing on. And I think that's what the Long Dark brings to the genre that a lot of other games really don't hit as well.
So two things from me. One is I'm a little pissed off at how bad this episode is going to make me look from a hypocritical standpoint because I did just talk shit about zombies.
Well, I just think it's interesting how it applies in certain, because I agree with you. I'm not interested in zombies for the exact same reason. Right. Like I don't like waves of. So anyway, go ahead.
Yeah, but so I think I agree completely. I think what's different about or what I enjoy about it is to Tango's point, that every day you've got to make a decision on what you're going to do that day. You have to, is it windy? Is it miserable outside? Okay, well, what are you going to do inside that's going to benefit you tomorrow? Are you going to craft? Are you going to read skill books that you have on hand? Are you going to just start stocking up on water to make sure you always have some on hand? All these things, right? And even when you're making those decisions, there's like pros and cons of everything you do, because so to your point, you can't stay in one spot for very long because you'll start to run out of supplies. Even if you want to, hunt, fish and whatnot, your fishing tackle breaks. Well, you've got to find supplies to make new fishing tackle, and that's going to run out at some point. You're going to run out of bullets if you hunt with a weapon. Making bows and arrows is very difficult because you've got to get to a forge to make the arrowheads, which I've actually never even been to the forge in the game. So then when you decide to move, what are you going to take with you and what are you going to leave? Because you can't bring everything with you. That's always my hardest decision in that game is, what do I take with me? I can't take it all. What is most useful? And I have this I just get frozen in decision making in that game because I end up just staying there because I'm like, well, I don't want to get to my next place and realize I needed, object A, but I left object A because I didn't think I was going to need it. And it's just crazy. And I think it simulates that critical decision making process that has to be done on a almost hour by hour basis in a real world survival situation. It simulates that so well.
Mm-hmm. That and you have all of the stuff that you've chosen to take and all the stuff that you've left behind, right? And you've 30 kilograms that you can carry, whatever. You load up on everything and then you leave and then you see a deer or something and you're just like, I could really use that meat, but I can't drop any of this stuff, Yep. It's and then traveling from world or map to map within the world is almost 100% of the time you are not going to make it in a day. So you need to be you need to be prepared to either create a shelter, hope that you find something along the way that you can stay in overnight. I remember I did a trip from, I think, Coastal Highway to Mystery Lake once, and you pass through this big canyon ravine area. And I was lucky enough to run into this little cave system that I was able to put my bedroll down in the cave and start a fire and whatnot there. But then I got up the next day
and it was a fucking blizzard outside, so I couldn't continue my trek. And it was like that kind of like just you never know what's going to happen next, and you've got to be able to adapt to your situation.
Traveling into the unknown in that game is terrifying. Absolutely terrifying, because you don't know what's out there, and you don't have a map for the next region that you're going to, right? So you're just you're hoping. You're walking into the open wilderness with no man-made structures in sight, and you're just hoping you'll find something that's going to help you survive, but you really don't know. It's terrifying.
The blizzards are lethal, not only because of the cold, but because you can't see shit. So you get turned around and you're done. Like
you'll literally walk in circles. Like,
yeah. I mean, there's no compass. You do have a map, but you have to kind of draw.
You don't always have a map, though.
No, not always.
No, you've got to map it yourself. So if you haven't mapped it, you're effed. But even if you have mapped it, you have to it doesn't show you where you're at on the map. So you have to be able to know where you're at. And if you get turned around
and stuff,
and you're in a blizzard, you're not going to be able to tell where you're at on that map. So it almost becomes useless.
One of the coolest things that they've added since I last played it was the spray paint cans.
Yeah.
Where you can like mark trees and stuff. Like, that's so cool. That's awesome.
Didn't know that's what that was for.
Yeah.
I left behind all the spray paint pans that I found because I was just like, what do I need to paint for?
You like spray, you can spray paint markers and stuff. I picked up when I recently started my playthrough.
Here. Like, I don't fucking know.
I saw on the Long Dark Reddit, there was a guy who was on like I think he was literally on day 363 or something.
Holy shit.
And he had spray painted a face on the wall next to his base, and he goes, "This is my version of Wilson."
That's almost a full year of just sucking miserably.
All right, so
insane.
I have a question. So yeah, Tango, you said it. You hit it right out of the park when you said that it simulates going out in the unknown, and the unknown is terrifying. Has anybody except for Ginger played Subnautica? I think Ryan, did you play it?
Yeah. I have not.
Yeah. Yep. Oh my God. I mean, that is the only other game that I think because Green Hell, honestly, it's scary for different reasons, right? And I can't really even think of another The Forest, I guess. The Forest is scary and a creepy, like,
because there's shit out there that's hunting you, and
yeah.
And they're not natural things that are hunting you either. You know, it's just
I mean, the vast majority of the map in Subnautica is deep, deep, deep ocean where you can't see anything. And there are absolutely animals in that deep ocean that want to kill you and are huge. And that's the only other game I think. Yeah, I mean, Subnautica. Well, it's interesting too because like another cool thing to talk about with Subnautica is I felt like it did a really good job of sort of like it kind of took it in another direction where. I mean, the Long Dark is arguably also about exploration, right? Because you're going to have to go explore and find more resources. Subnautica is about exploration in that if you want to get off the planet, you're going to have to explore and find more tech blueprints and build better, submarines and stuff and more equipment so that you can unlock the story. And there is an actual end game, right? Like you're going towards getting off the planet that you've crash landed on. And it's a really great story in and of itself. But it also did a very good job of like the unknown. I mean, I've talked to several people who have tried to play that game. I finished it and have not finished it because they're just like, no, I'm content to just build my base in the shallows. Like I don't need to go down any further because it's legitimately frightening, Yeah. So I don't know. I would highly recommend Subnautica to everyone, and they're coming out with a new one soon too.
I completely agree. You get below like a certain depth in that game, and it's just like vast water. You can't see anything. You see like shadows of little things floating around, and you're like, I don't like that. I'm gonna go back. I'm good. I'm out. I could totally understand why those people just want to build their base in the shallows. That's completely fine. It's a gorgeous game.
Yeah. And another thing that I think that we should talk about in relation to both these games is like the like what it gains versus what it loses from not being co-op, because like Green Hell is co-op, Long Dark, Subnautica is not. And I think, and like I've always kind of wished, and I know Ryan has said this before, but I've always kind of wished that Long Dark would be co-op. But I think it would actually, the more I've thought about it, I think it would actually probably take something away from it, because part of the joy of playing that game, or part of the experience, I don't know if you call it the joy, is that you're alone. You know, like you are absolutely alone. Like you don't have anybody else. And I think Subnautica would be the same way. Like if you had somebody else, another human being helping you out, it would not be as frightening. You know, like I don't know.
I've long been in the camp of I wish Long Dark was co-op, just because like I think it would be really freaking cool. But to your point, the longer I've thought about it and whatnot, I completely agree, because I think what makes Long Dark so incredibly challenging and immersive is the fact that you are there by yourself, nobody else, surviving. And if you had someone there, would that take away from that immersion? And I think it probably would. So the longer I've thought about it, I think I agree. It's just like, it's one of those things where, you know, one of the biggest reasons I play video games is to experience, you know, things with my friends, right? Do hood rat shit with my friends. And I can't, you know, and so it's like you almost you want to experience the Long Dark with your buddy, but then you don't think about, well, if you were experiencing the Long Dark with your buddy, you wouldn't be experiencing the same Long Dark. It'd be a different Long Dark.
Yeah. I think so. What do you think, Tango? Do you think it should have co-op?
No, I like the game just the way it is. Part of what makes the game feel the way it does is that you are alone. It's supposed to make you feel like you're alone and there's nothing in the world that is there to help you. It's you versus nature. It's not you and your friends or your group of survivors versus nature. No, you're alone. That's the point of the game to me. So I think it's perfectly fine without co-op.
The longer I've thought about it, I agree.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
I've fallen into that camp.
Oh man.
Besides, if you're streaming, you kind of are experiencing with other people, right?
It's a great game to stream. It's a fantastic game to stream, I think. I'm sort of sad. No, I'm not sad. I've been really enjoying Red Dead, but I do want to get back into Long Dark, I think, at some point. So.
Yeah, I think chat was like making fun of me for a solid 10 minutes while I was trying to open up a combination lock on a safe. I just couldn't figure it out, dude.
I was like, what is this guy doing? Like, what? One of my favorite moments, Tango, was when you started a fire and you went to pass time and you couldn't figure out why you died. And
because the fire didn't last long enough.
Yeah, and it was like, Tango, because you had 8 minutes left on the fire.
That was like the first fire that I started, dude. I don't know. Like every game has those growing pains, though. And
I know. It was just so funny because, you know, I'm sitting here having, you know, hours upon hours in the game, and I'm just like, Tango!
It has really cool. That game does a lot of good things. I mean, we're talking about the atmosphere and stuff, but it's a really solid, fun, like survival gameplay loop too. I mean, like the you know, I don't even know what I'm talking about, but it just the things that you find and how you use them, and you know, like figuring out what raw materials are good and what are not.
Every environment has its different hazards too. Like, I didn't know that you couldn't walk on top of ice in some parts, so I just fell into an ice lake and died immediately. I was like, well.
Yep.
Even if you survive
that's a new thing.
Even if you survive that, you then have to deal with like your certain hypothermia. I've done that a couple times.
Because your clothes are drenched, and you are out in the negative 20-degree cold. So even if you survive, if you're not near shelter, like within a few minutes, you're still screwed.
I just give up at that point. That sounds awful. I'd probably just jump back into the ice and be like, all right, let's get this over with.
Take me, Deep Blue. Take me away. My biggest, we've talked about how much we love this game, but real quick, my biggest complaint to this day, and it's actually gotten better than it used to be. They actually definitely tweaked it a little bit. But my biggest complaint about this game is the fact that you can literally have 5 pounds of meat and that will last you for that'll hold you over till supper, literally. Like you'll get up in the morning or over lunch or something, you'll eat 5 pounds of meat and your guy is hungry mere hours later. And I'm like, I get it. There's a lot that goes into, but it's not like this is being simulated in the game, but there's a lot that goes into, the actual like nutritional value of certain meats, whether it's got enough fat and if it's too lean or whatever, and how that can actually be detrimental to your health. But it's not like this game is simulating that. It's just the fact that you can eat 6 pounds of fucking meat and be hungry in a couple hours. That's bullshit. For one.
Your body does use a lot more calories when it's like trying to fight off the cold and stuff. I don't know if it uses that much more, but
that's my thing. But then also, I mean, in a survival situation, I don't know. That has always bothered me. The fact that you just like you're a fucking human garbage disposal in that game, and it's like
early on, it definitely felt like you could eat an entire deer, and that would be a day's worth of food. Which, which it does makes. I mean, I get what they're trying to make sure that you do have to keep moving. Right? They got to make decisions for gameplay, but I agree. I think it has been patched a little bit though.
Yeah, I think in my experience, I felt like it was pretty balanced in terms of the amount of food that you had to eat and the amount of stuff that you had to drink every day to keep you healthy. And like you had to drink a lot more, but you didn't have to really worry too much because there's fucking snow everywhere. You know what I mean? So you could just melt water whenever you needed to. And you would definitely want to keep yourself hydrated in that situation. You'd want to be drinking water a lot. So, I felt it was pretty balanced. I didn't really have like a hard time with that. I mean, I had a hard time with it at first, but I didn't think it was unfair.
Yeah.
Awesome.
Ginger, you were talking about Red Dead though, because I know you just recently revisited that game.
I've been given enough shit about never finishing Red Dead 2, and like I honestly
rightfully
like
so. I just want to say,
I know.
Yeah, I
just want to make sure we're on the same page on that.
You deserve every second of it.
We've talked about it a lot on the podcast and in other places too. And finally, like yesterday, I mean, I've been hitting the Milsims hard. Like I've been playing a lot of ARM, a lot of Tarkov, and that's been a blast. But I have been wanted to I tried out Dungeon Keeper 3 and that sucked. I've been trying to kind of find something else that I can kind of do on stream. And so on Friday, I just sort of decided, I was like, you know what, I'm going to start from scratch. I'm going to start the campaign completely over and we're just going to do this on stream and we're going to finish it. So, and I am so happy. I cannot wait to play today. Like I had an
awesome time watching you play it too, because it's so cinematic.
Yeah. I mean, that game, I don't know. I just like, I'm almost in awe of it. And like, I really think that I stopped playing before because I didn't want it to end. I could feel myself getting closer and closer to the end.
It's actually a really long game.
It is long.
Yeah.
Long. But I think like the other thing that I've with these type of games, like the Assassin's Creed, like when I played Assassin's Creed Origins, there's so much side questing and stuff that you can do. And I just didn't do any of that. I was just like, I'm going to play main campaign, and finish the game. And I think I kind of did the same thing my first Red Dead playthrough. And then I'm getting closer to the end and characters I loved are gone. And like all these other things are like, oh God, I should have spent more time hunting, so that's what I'm kind of trying to approach it this time,
you absolutely should. I mean, that is what that game, there's unlimited things to do out in that world, but those are some of the most fun moments where you're just out doing those, whether you're hunting, fishing, or side questing. And
I have spent weeks in game weeks looking for like the legendary cougar in the swamp, because I wanted to, like, I don't know what the hell article of clothing you got out of it, like a fucking fur cloak or something. I don't know what it was, but I wanted it. I don't remember what it was, but I wanted it. And I spent literal weeks. I had a camp set up. I was out in the wilderness and I'm like, I'm going to get this fucker. I'm going to get him. And I sat there for weeks until I finally found him. and hunted him. And I think I actually botched my first, like I saw him and I missed my shot and I was so pissed off. So I had to like wait a couple weeks for him to come back. But like, even just doing that, you know, just sitting in the swamp weeks looking for this specific animal that I'm trying to hunt, this specific legendary animal, was an amazing time.
Yeah. Yeah. It's great. I mean, there's like so many different details and like, I mean, one of the things like, you know, make fun of you if you want to, but like one of the things I've always loved about this game is like the clothing selection. Like I can't wait. Like right now, my guy, you know, Arthur's poor as fuck. But once we've got some money, boy, we're going to go to Blackwater and we're getting.
Hold on a minute.
Don't go to
What's wrong
Blackwater.
with Arthur's hat? What's wrong?
Okay, Arthur's hat. Arthur's default hat sucks.
No, it doesn't. That's Arthur's hat. I couldn't take that hat off, dude. No matter how many hats I found, I had to use Arthur's hat because that's his hat.
I thought the replacement hats all look like ass.
Yeah, most of them do. There's one, I can't remember what it's called, but it's got like a wider brim and like kind of a flat top. I'm kind of a hat purist when it comes to.
You can tell by the hat.
A connoisseur of hats,
I know,
if you
right?
will.
Yeah. Old beat up hat. Yeah, but I mean, I love the clothes. Like you pick out different types of boots and shirts. Like I like in my last playthrough, and like the beards and stuff. Like you could shave fucking mutton chops into him, or have an epic mustache. I had like
mutton chops, a full mustache, and then like stubble on the chin. That was sophisticated as shit. I put like a suit on with it. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
it was nice.
I always went with just a straight, like really full fucking mustache, but clean everywhere else.
Dude, yeah. So when I first played, I gave him like a thin mustache, and he looked like the Godfather, dude. He looked like Marlon Brando. That was a look I went for a while.
Talk about immersion, though. I mean, that game. I'm remembering now that I'm starting to play again. There's a scene. Oh, okay. So. I'm trying to figure out how to like talk about this because it was such a like good experience. But like, so I used to. Here's what I used to do historical reenacting when I was in college. I did mostly Civil War, but I did some other stuff too. And like, so the thing that they talk about in reenacting a lot of times, it's very actually similar to video games. Like you're chasing the dragon a little bit, like you're chasing that immersive feeling, and I got it a couple of times, like when we would all be lined, there'd be like 1,000 men on the battlefield, and you're marching in formation and you can't really see anything and can't
was there, the sorry to interrupt, but was there really that many of you guys interact?
Yeah, dude. So I got into Civil War reenacting around like the 150th anniversary of a lot of these battles. And so I went and did Shiloh, which was one of the earliest and bloodiest battles, mostly because they were throwing a bunch of green recruits at each other and they didn't have the sense to like run away. They just blasted away at each other. Yeah, so it's 150th anniversary, and like you would have thousands of guys on the field at one time. It was amazing to see. But even more than that, like being immersive, I always remember like sitting around the campfire at night, and there's something about at night being in the woods. And like nobody's wearing like modern clothing or has modern electronics or anything. And like you forget, like it only happens for a little bit at a time, but you forget that you're not living in, 2000s, right? In the 21st century. And and Red Dead has been the only game that's ever given me kind of that same feeling. And it's one of the scenes I think actually coming up fairly quickly in my playthrough where the gang has just gotten a huge score or whatever, and they're all partying around the campfire. Yep. And like you just walking around, and it just feels like that game feels alive. I don't know. It's just incredible. Like I literally, I think I spent like, I think I was actually, like drinking whiskey too when I was playing this last time, by myself in my dark room on my computer screen, and just like, like partying with the gang. And I don't know. It's an incredible, like the fact that a video game can make you feel that way. Like you're there is
you really do feel like you're a part of a community too when you're in the camp and everyone's got their role to play, and they're all drinking and partying, celebrating, whatever.
They do so well with the character. You just feel like you can get really close to every single one of those characters.
Yeah.
And that's like amazing. once the community starts to fall apart, you really feel it. you feel like torn inside.
Finish it. Yeah.
Because you're like, we're supposed to be a family. What are we doing here?
Yeah.
What the fuck is going on here?
And Dutch is like a good leader on one hand and an egomaniacal son of a bitch on the other hand. Like everybody has those like two, sides to them. Is it Uncle who's just a fucking useless ass drunk, but he's kind of charming, like
Trying to feel for the guy.
I love Dutch's character in that game.
I did too.
Because you really don't see in the first game Dutch is a character, but you really don't see that much of him. You don't know much about him. But I really think they did an amazing job with Dutch's character and him being the charismatic leader that he is in the game. It's not hard to see why these people would all band together and follow a guy like that.
Yeah, they literally talk about in the very beginning, you're hanging out with Charles or something. I think it's Charles, and they're like, yeah. So how is this gang? It's kind of like the new employee. It's like, how are you liking the company? It's like, this is the best company I've ever been a part. It's pretty. It's pretty cool. It's such a good world building story, and so many good details.
Story writing is something that Rockstar has always been phenomenal at with all of the Grand Theft Auto games. I loved Vice City. I think is one of my favorite GTA games. I wish they would I wish the next game, I don't care if it's a remake of Vice City, but I hope it takes place in Vice City.
Vice City was such a fun world to be in.
Yeah. It was kind of like that Scarface-esque kind of environment that you always found yourself in.
Yep.
If you guys, I don't know if you guys ever saw, but there's an Easter egg in Vice City where if you go into some random apartment, there is a bathroom with a chainsaw in it and blood all over the shower. That one scene from Scarface where they got him tied up to the shower curtain rod. Yeah. There's an Easter egg in Vice City where you can go find that.
Yeah. That's awesome. I did not know that.
I mean, you can tell they were kind of going for it because there's that one mission where you go to the drug guy's big main compound and you're just walking around duke. It's this is Scarface, bro. What are we even talking? What are we even talking about here? This is Scarface.
Yeah, you could tell it was heavily inspired by Scarface, which I'm not mad at all because Scarface is one of the greatest movies of all time.
Great. Incredible game.
But Ginger, I highly encourage you to go out and just explore the wilderness in Red Dead. Even if it has nothing to do with the story or side mission at all, just go out and explore, dude, because you'll find a lot of random encounters that are just an awesome experience in itself. Have any of you guys ever walked in on a clan meeting in Red Dead?
Yeah.
I think there's a few of them, if I'm not mistaken. But there's also areas where you go.
A running joke. Yeah.
There's also areas where you go, though, where you'll find a little box and you open it up and there's a gold bar in it. And you're just like, oh, okay, I just got $500 off of that. So that's pretty awesome. So I highly encourage you to go and just explore the wilderness. Don't rush the game. I tried to rush the game the first time that I played it, and I actually played through it twice. I never beat it the second time because the second time I was going around exploring. I was hunting a lot more. I fucking hunted a cougar for 2 weeks. So, I had a lot more fun the second time I played it, even though I didn't actually finish the game, just because I was going out and trying to explore the world a lot more.
Yeah, I'm definitely going to try. I mean, it's going to take me a long time. I did promise my chat that I would, finish it. So now I'm
going to. If it takes a year.
Well, whoa. I mean, if you just play the damn game, it's going to take a while. But if you play the game, you enjoy it and everything, it won't even feel like you're playing it for very long. I put a ton of hours into it, but it didn't feel like I put a ton of hours into it because it was just so easy to just play the game. And I completely agree with Tango. You got to go out and just experience the world. That's what makes that game so incredible. The story is one of the best stories I've ever played, but the world in that game is what makes it
equally as amazing. Yeah.
My favorite encounter I ever ran into the wild. I was just riding my horse down a road, and there was this crashed bank buggy, and these two guys who had clearly robbed the buggy are trying to blow up the back hatch to get to the money. And the guy blows up the dynamite and kills both of them. They just blow up. And I'm just like, hello? What the fuck just happened?
Look
But it's
around,
just like
see who's
random
watching.
shit like
Oh,
that is just it's incredible the way they were able to put that thing together.
I had a similar experience too, where these guys had like a safe that was like just off the road. I think they just robbed it off of a buggy, and they were trying to blow it up, and they just blew themselves up. And I was like, well, I'll just
and then you just take the
help
stuff out of the
myself.
case. Yeah, you're like, thanks, guys, appreciate
All right.
you. I'll loot your bodies too while I'm at it.
Let me run them pockets.
Yeah.
Good. Well, we're probably getting up to time, aren't we, Tango?
Hour and 4 minutes.
You guys want to wrap it? What do
You're
we
the
think?
host, man.
Or we have more to talk about. I think we ought to keep. I think we ought to stop it there. We've covered that Long Dark is fantastic. Red Dead is fantastic. And we've got some things to talk about for next time. So yeah, I think that's,
We're not going to talk about Call of Duty though. Just Long Dark and Red Dead.
Just Long Dark.
Thanks, appreciate you. my little section is just written off.
Yeah. I will say though that we're at episode 6 right now, which I don't know about you guys, but that's kind of hard to believe. It's been incredible so far with all the engagement we've gotten, and we hope everybody will continue to watch. We are now live on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, and Google, I believe. So you can find audio only versions. So from now on, when we release the video version, we'll also be releasing the audio only version, so you can download it and listen to it in traffic.
Hell yeah.
To us talk about. You won't be able to see Ryan chug beer, but you will be able to hear it.
You'll be able to hear that one
gulp. Yeah,
that was pretty good.
That really hurt.
So anyway, we're looking forward to recording very many more. Everybody, thank you so much for tuning in to the Easy Company Podcast, number 6. I am GingerBeerdGaming. With me, AngryPrivateRyan and 12 Tango Dom. 12 Tango doing all the heavy leg work for the editing. We'll see you next time, everybody. Bye.
Bye.